Hello, my food mood friends. Welcome back. Chandra's Zen Odyssey. All right, so I'm not wearing any makeup today. I don't actually wear a lot of makeup in general, but oftentimes when I'm seeing my clients or I'm going out or I'm making videos, I often wear mascara and a little bit of eyebrow pencil because, as you can see, I don't have much eyebrows. But I'm not wearing makeup today, so can you notice? My eyelashes are probably a little less. My eyes have been feeling a little bit irritated from all of the beautiful spring flowers pollen, and so just giving my skin a little break. It is actually a lot of the clients that I meet in person, and when they know, like when I meet them around town and they learn that I don't wear any makeup, they're kind of like shocked. They're like, "You don't wear skin makeup and your skin looks so amazing?" Yes, because one of the things that I found, which is kind of ironic for me because I've struggled so much with my skin my whole life. Like was covered in head to toe with eczema when I was a kid. And so my skin has always been something I'm a little bit sensitive. And for years, it was kind of mind-blowing that I would get compliments on my skin. But when we eat really good nutrient-dense foods, when we're getting enough collagen, when we're drinking enough water, our skin, which is our largest organ, looks healthy. And so side note, because that is not what I was planning to talk about today, but I wanted to talk about the connection between skin, makeup, and internal health. So what I wanted to actually talk to you about today, that I I find that I'm working on finding a balance of chatting and bringing in some personal pieces, and then also like getting to the point and like, what's my message and what am I going to say? So I felt like sharing about my skin and not wearing makeup. And now I want to dive into, can you imagine what it would be like to crave foods that make you feel good? Not the dopamine hitting foods that give you that like big dopamine hit in the moment, but the foods that make you feel energized after a meal, that make you feel excited for your day the next day, that even give you like long-term sustainable a state of like vibrancy and health 10 years from now. Can you imagine like craving those foods? And
welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra O, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
So the flip side of that, the other side of it, is what I hear and know also from my own experience and help my clients through their struggles, is like they're craving these foods that they don't really want to eat and they know is not healthy for them. And yet they're like in this internal battle of like, I have to eat healthy, I shouldn't be eating this junk food, if only I can control myself, and like all of these kind of like control, willpower, restrictive tactics, or I'll just go on this extreme diet or cleanse, which then always leads to backfiring and rebelling and self-sabotaging and eating often even worse after a restrictive phase. And so I know the food battles all too well. I mean, when I was in my early 20s, I realized I had a serious sugar problem because if there was cake frosting in the room, I could not listen to somebody in front of me talking to me because all my brain was thinking about and focusing on was eating that cake frosting. I used to have like a very serious addiction to cake frosting. So I know what it's like to really have those incredibly intense cravings where our brain is basically hijacked, and that part of our brain that is seeking pleasure and dopamine is just like totally fixed on the next fix. And I want to offer you that there is a totally different path to food changes. And it has to do with recalibrating your taste buds, rewiring your brain neurons, and understanding where different cravings come from. There's the cravings of our brain, there is the cravings of our cellular body, there are the cravings of our microbiome, there are emotional cravings. So there are all these different places that cravings come from. And there is a tool set that you can learn to talk back to your brain, down regulate your brain neurons and the dopamine that is just like fixed on getting their next fix. And also like the unfriendly microbiome that can really crave sugar also. And then once, because those are the really loud ones, those are the ones that we most of us are just super loud in our brain. But there is a way to downregulate them, make those quieter, so that then you actually are tuned in and feeling and hearing the cravings of your body and your cells that are craving the really good proteins, the really good oils, the really good vegetables, the really good salads. That I like to call it the happy food dance. Like when I eat a really good nourishing meal, I get this like little like, oh, it's so good. And there's this like, but it like comes from my gut. It comes from my core. It comes from this place of like, yes, my body is saying yes to this.
Hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea, floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch.
So instead of, I just want to plant this seed in your brain, that instead of fighting those cravings that are really loud and that have you hooked on, I mean, food businesses have done a great job of getting us very hooked on processed foods. I like to call them man-made calories because I don't consider them food, but food companies have gotten really good at designing them to be very addictive, and unfortunately they're not nourishing, and so our body is still craving and still needing nutrients, and so we keep eating, we get over hungry, we have over desire, and so we're just in this perpetual loop of craving stuff that is not serving us. And so I offer in my coaching program first the mood piece, because without the mood piece and understanding how our brain and our emotions work and why we're eating, because we eat because we have cravings, and so how to deal with those cravings or how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions so that we don't need to use food to feel better. So the mood part comes first. It's really important to wiggle that, and then do a food reset, recalibrate your brain, your dopamine, rewire your brain neurons, so that then you can really listen and seriously, honestly crave foods that make you actually feel good, that make you feel good after your meal, that make you feel good tomorrow morning, that make you feel satisfied and in your body and on the ground and nourished. And one of the cool things that happens is that hangry state. A lot of people are in that hangry, like I have to eat multiple times, I have to have my snacks, I have to have breakfast. So when you're in that phase, you're a sugar burner and you're hooked on those carbs, you're hooked on those sugars, and you're not satiated, and so you're in this constant loop of feeling empty and feeling like you need more, but you're like overweight and you're over saturated with processed man-made calories. And getting to a place where you can like just sit back, listen to your body, talk back to your brain, and choose foods that really fuel you, so that you have this high level of productivity, high level of presence, high level of brain clarity, high level of patience, just having that internal space because you're fed and you're nourished and you're not hangry. And then you get to actually really listen to your hunger cues, their actual hunger from your body versus hangry from the dopamine and the addicted, hooked, hijacked parts of your brain that food businesses, big food companies that are able to just label whatever they want as healthy, that they get us really hooked and really addicted to their foods, which is great for profit, but doesn't really benefit our health and our well-being and our human potential. So, you've heard me say it a million times, I got a food and mood coaching program. I help you with the relationship with your mood, with your emotions, and with your brain, and then I help you with your relationship to food. And it's a relationship that's based on tapping into your desires and tapping into why you want to eat food that fuels you, nourishing foods, and really cultivating those relationships so that it's not that you're not making any food changes from restriction or willpower, dieting. That's not the game. The game is creating those high vibe, like really satisfying, nourishing relationships, both with your emotions and your mind and your brain, and as well as your body and the cravings and the different types of cravings and where they come from. So understanding all of these different pieces, understanding how to listen, understanding how to choose, understanding how to really up-level your relationships, which is, I really love relationships. It is in all aspects, whether it's food, whether it's emotions, whether it's friends, whether it's community, whether it's business. Relationships is like, I've been working with this amazing astrologer lately, and she just completely confirmed. She's like, relationships are like, you're just all about relating. I think it has something to do with my Venus being in some house. I don't know. I'm not an astrology expert, but it definitely solidified seeing this part of me that I have known about and have had like totally confirmed of like, relationships are just my jam. So if you want to come work on your relationships with me, send me a message and we can see what it would be like to work together. And I'll make you an offer. We can talk about what you're wanting, what you're needing, what you've tried, and then we can go from there and we can start up-leveling your relationships to the place that you want, without willpower, without restriction. It kind of feels magical, which is